Welcome to BAM Global Fireside Chat. Today we will focus on starting and growing regional BAM networks. In the global BAM movement, in the ecosystem, we talk about three kinds of networks. One is focusing on an issue, having a cause like fighting human trafficking through business, reaching unreached peoples. The second one would be industry related, like coffee, from the coffee plant to the coffee cup. And there is the coffee as mission network. Thirdly, there are also networks that have a geographical focus, like Brazil, Nigeria, South Africa, the Netherlands, Sweden, Romania, Russia, India, China, and Korea. And today we will focus on Brazil, Russia, and Korea. Networks. Why do it? How to get started? What are the benefits and challenges? And what are some of the lessons learned? To address these questions, I have three distinguished guests. We have Samara from Brazil. She's a BAM Global Associate Ambassador for Brazil and a founder of Set Generation Consulting. Welcome, Samara. We also have Mikhail. He's in Moscow, and he's the BAM Global Ambassador for Russia. Welcome, Mikhail. And Sam in Seoul, Korea. Sam Cho, he's the BAM Global Ambassador for Korea and Director of Interserve Korea. Welcome, Sam. So I want to ask you all three the same question, and starting with Sam. How did you personally get involved in BAM, and what led you and others to start your particular BAM geographical network? Why did you do that, Sam?
Well, it was up until 2007 that I found this idea of business as missions. And then I took a sabbatical in Washington, D.C., whereas I was working in China and North Korean project. But up until that, I had no idea about business mission. But it was the Holy Spirit that when I had the meetings, and then I was praying, and inside of my heart, and I felt like Holy Spirit is speaking to me the exact word, business as mission. Actually, it happened. Mm. So after that, I started to dig into where actually this existed or not, and I found this idea. So we had a small conference, 2007, July, around 30 people. And later on, I found out that there was another kind of same conference, the first time in Shanghai, where like 100 Korean business people and church people got together at a church. In 2008, these two groups met together. And remember, that was the first time I met you.
Yeah.
And since then, this whole idea of business as a mission conference started in Korea.
Thank you. So, Mikhail, how did you get involved, and why did you start BAM Russia?
So I served as a local church pastor, and I was looking for how to equip my people to be missionaries and ministers in their daily and their working life. And looking for this, I have found some BAM materials, and I was very impressed with them because of, first, very simple, and second, very practical concept. So I mailed Mats because his name was almost under every document I have seen, and then we have met. And I really think that BAM is at the forefront of what God is doing in our world now. And I think this because of three things. First, that BAM has a very holistic understanding of gospel. Second, the attention to the global problems. And third, the possibility for every Christian to be involved in full-time ministry. And also, I think that BAM is very actual for Russia because we have more and more difficulties for open preaching of the gospel in Russia. And second, most of Christian business people, as well as most of pastors, don't see the business as a real ministry. So I think that if we'll change their minds, the minds of church leaders and business people, it will be possible to change the country.
Good. Thank you, Mikhail. Samara?
Well, I came from an entrepreneurial background, and my first contact with BAM was in 2015 in Colorado Springs. And I was looking forward to know more about God's perspective on business. And finally, BAM made a perfect sense to me. And I felt God confirmed that working in BAM was my calling and my part in his kingdom. So after that, after getting involved with BAM in South Africa for 2 years, I came back to Brazil and I was invited to join the BAM global team. And since that, I saw that we had few resources about BAM in Portuguese, and many people had never heard about BAM before. Mm-hmm. And then when they heard, they were amazed because BAM, that was what they were looking for. So because of this, I realized it was very necessary to take this message to the largest number of people.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good. Thank you. Sam, we've known each other, as you mentioned, for quite a few years now. We've been working together, and the BAM Korea network is IBA, International BAM Alliance, and we work together in China and Korea and beyond. So it's been around for 14 years now. So tell us about IBA, who are involved, and what do you do?
Well, initially it was an event organized by a local church of Koreans residing in Shanghai, China. And this local church is boomed with all businessmen and women. And then they read the 2004 Lausanne occasional paper on the issue of BAM. And then the pastor found it very interesting, and then trying to create an event, a conference for the church for self. But it gradually, I joined them for their second conference. After then, it has grown. And I worked as the first organizer because of my background as a social scientist, I was better in organizing ideas and events. And then it's been 14 years. Every year, we trying to write a book based on the reflections of practitioners and then theologians and local pastors. And then we have been producing these books. It has been a great source for BAM movement in Korea.
Yeah, and this is important to note that, you know, if you Google BAM or business as mission, you get a number of hits. But that doesn't necessarily show you what's happening globally, because there's a lot of things going on in Korean, in Russian, and in Portuguese as well. And there are different websites in different languages too. So, Mikhail, you came to Stockholm August 2016. We had lunch and we talked about developing BAM in Russia. In November last year, you organized the first major BAM Congress in Russia. So tell us more about BAM Russia and what you do.
Okay. First of all, we are just in the beginning. So I can't say that there is a real BAM community in our country. And as Samara told, we are in this point that just few people have even heard about BAM in our country. Of course, some business people practice some kind of BAM, but they don't know the real concept. So my main goal now is to first to inform people about this movement and concept, and second to build a real network of practitioners, business people, pastors, and some researchers who really believe and practice BAM in their life. So I started with the series of seminars on BAM in different regions of our country. And second, my goal was to organize the conference you have mentioned already. And last November, we held the first BAM Russia conference. We had about 120 participants and some group of volunteers, of course. And then we launched BAM website in Russian, BAM YouTube channel, and some social media, Telegram channel, Instagram, Facebook, and some others. And our plan was to have an annual conference, but of course, of the situation with COVID, we are confused in our plans, and now we are looking for how to go on. During the first wave, when we had the most strict limitations, we organized several roundtables, just like webinars. We call them BAM versus COVID, and we have a discussion how business people can do and operate in this situation to help people. Now we are organizing some other activities, and maybe later tell about this.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Mikhail. Samara, I've been to Brazil many times since 2001, and you and I met in Colorado Springs 2015. A few years ago, a friend of ours in Brazil told me, hey, we should engage Samara in BAM Brazil. She is really good. And he was right. So you're now part of the team developing BAM Brazil. So tell us about the various part of BAM Brazil.
Yes, Mats, as I say before, I felt a great need to turn this message popular and make BAM known to the larger number of people. So I started on social media, create content in Portuguese, doing lives, mini course and workshops by myself. And I realized that the people's response was very positive, and I would not be able to meet the entire demand alone. So I invited a small group of 6 people who already were involved in BAM in Brazil, and also with the church, with missionary agency, BAM accelerators and funding, and of course involved in businesses. So we decided together that the first step would be to create online training for mobilizers. They would be able to talk about BAM in their churches and a small group in their city. And we are working on together in this project now. And the second step is to serve people through a specific BAM network according to their interest, according to their interest, like BAM for students, BAM for churches, BAM for missionary agencies, and BAM for group of entrepreneurs through online communities. We are working on these two processes at the same time, and create demand by online events, producing content, and also create support by networks through BAM communities.
Right. And of course, you also have a website, a BAM Brazil website.
Yes.
Material in Portuguese. Thank you. So we've talked briefly about your networks, what they are and what you do. So now let's look at the processes, the lessons learned in developing BAM Russia, Korea, Brazil. What has been challenging? What has worked well? What lessons have you learned? Ladies first, Samara.
Okay. Mats, the most challenging thing for me is to get people involved in networks, because we need a point person in each network or community to lead in this process. What worked well was having daily communication on social media, like Facebook and Instagram and Telegram. And because of this, because it's the way to spread the message and ignite people to come and join us. I learned that you can even start alone. But if you want to be successful in this work, you cannot continue alone. You need a operational team and willingness to collaborate with other initiatives in your city. So you can get collaboration for your network. In my case, I am involved with other church business network and initiative here in Curitiba and all the parts of Brazil.
Good. So yeah, so it's interesting. In Brazil, you have businesses, you have investors, you have accelerators, you have mission agencies, and even universities that are involved in
yes,
network. Yeah, that's good. Mikhail, what are some of your lessons learned?
Okay, because we are just in the beginning, so we have just one thing working good, two things as lessons, and three challenges. Maybe later will change. So what is worked well, really? Most of our activities really were taken well, but I understand that these are just first steps, so it's difficult to say that they really works well. But I can tell that this series of seminars, which I'm traveling with all over the country, they are really accepted well because we have a good feedback and usually some follow-up after them. So what lessons I can learn from this? First, you have to develop BAM network as a business. You have to think about sustainable and self-supported activity. If not, it will be not going on good enough. And second, you have to find the local examples. What does it mean, BAM? Because people can hardly accept examples from different kinds of the world. They can't connect them with their daily life. And three challenges. First, we need to change minds of church leaders and business people. It's the main and the most difficult thing we have to do. Second, I believe we will be able to attract business people from Russian Orthodox Church because just a few of population in Russia is evangelicals, less than 1%. And most of the population, they believe they are Orthodox, and so if you attract them, it will help. And third, we have to raise some resources to develop the movement. We have money to traveling, to develop media resources, and so on. So these three are most important for us now.
Sam, lessons learned.
Well, for IBA, we're trying to create kind of open venue, which can create a good ecology for various BAM initiatives can grow. And for that purpose, we're trying to influence three different stakeholders. The first one was businessmen and women in the field. I'm not talking about missionaries. I'm talking about the general businessmen and women. Mm-hmm. And second part is local churches. And third one was mission agencies. And then for last 14 years, I think we influenced most the businessmen and women. Mm-hmm. We have seen more and more people actually consider themselves as BAM and trying to do the missional initiative by using their businesses, which is really encouraging. And then also when we try to influence local churches, we wish that they consider BAM as a kind of a new kind of mission movement where all Christians in the churches consider themselves as missionaries, and also church can consider themselves as sending agencies to the field. And then it often collides with the idea of a church growth movement. Mm-hmm. So it has been difficult, but I think we're challenging them really good. Mm-hmm. For last part, we've been trying to influence mission agencies, which was actually we spent the most time for that, but hardest, very hardest. We found out that they are already very busy. Even if they acknowledge that this is what they need, but actually they took a little effort to change it.
Mm.
Does it make sense?
Yes, I understand. So yeah, thank you all three of you. And I think for all those who watch this fireside chat, it's important to note, one reason BAM Global and these three regional networks and others are able to communicate and collaborate is that we have all embraced like the BAM manifesto, the wealth creation manifesto. We have sort of embraced the same kind of values and system and vision and mission. So briefly now, so what's next for you in your regional network? Any particular plan or event that is coming up, Samara?
Mats, the next steps here is run the course of mobilizers that we are developing now and create a virtual community environment for each of BAM's group, like churches, university, businesses, missionary agencies, and funding. So for now, this is my next step.
All right, Mikhail?
I hope through this series of seminars to launch BAM groups in several cities. So we'll have some cause in the country which really do and believe in BAM, and that will be the foundation of the network. Also, we are preparing a research about Christian business in our country and to see are there some BAM initiatives or not.
Okay. Sam?
We are trying to awaken churches in Korea to think about the future of Korean Peninsula. For last several years, there was really tense relationships around the Korean Peninsula, Japan, China, North Korea, South Korea, and America, and it was almost like a deadlock. But now there is a signs of changes. Now, Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan, was gone, and Trump was changed. And then who knows what will happen with Xi Jinping in China. But if there is a change, the first things we're trying to build for future peace and then coexistence, definitely business. The business community needs to know their roles before all these things begins.
Right. So lastly, in English we say an elevator pitch. You're with someone in an elevator and you have 30 seconds to challenge, encourage someone to start a geographical BAM network. What would you say, Samara?
Please start a BAM network in your country and be part of what God will do through this initiative. You will see this network flourishing and then growing in your country, because this is really true, because I am seeing this happen here in Brazil. So I encourage you to do it.
Mikhail?
Well, first, just do it. And seriously, you have to have a good local team. Then to be in close connection with BAM Global, it's very important. And a lot attention to website and social media.
Sam?
I would say be connected with the global network, and you will find out that you are not alone. And also you will find out this is what Holy Spirit is doing now. This is really crazy and hot and very interesting.
Yeah, true story. Thank you, Samara. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mikhail, and thank you, everyone. May God continue to bless us so we can be a blessing as we do business for Him and for people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mats.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mats.